What's going on, guys? This is Scott. We're here at the Drip, home of the 150% guarantee, where 100% of the time I will be over 50% right. Every knife has a story. What do? We bring you a piece of that, whether it's the beginning, middle, end, observations, anything that we're looking at thinking this isn't any type of this isn't where professionals linger. We're the learners, the ones that want to expand, and well, this is a good place to do it. So I welcome you here, guys. It's a wonderful day. This is September the 1st, 2022. It's a Thursday. We're getting ready to creep up on a weekend, but this may find you at a different day and time, and if it does, we're still accomplishing and doing the same thing, one step at a time. We are going to look at the WE knife Synergy2. What a really, really fabulous, cool looking, wonderful knife. This thing, I love this. I've had it for at least a couple of years at this point, but I remember when I first got this knife, the feeling that I had of ecstasy that was washing across my body, making me think, oh, what a great design, what a great look. Get in my pocket. All right, so tell you a little bit that I know in my limited knowledge of the WE knife Synergy2. I'm sure most of you watching are familiar with WE knife. They are a Chinese-based company that produces lots of really they're great functioning knives. They've come a long way. I am impressed with a lot of the WE knives designs that they've come out with. Now, I own maybe, I think, 2 or 3. One of them is the Elijah Isham design that he has. I've got this one, of course, and so I've always, with the ones that I have, I really like. Now, the Synergy 1 came out 20 years previous to the Synergy 2. If my memory serves me right, most of the time it doesn't, but I believe this did come out about 20 years after. The designer that came up with this is Jim Young, and if we look on the non-show side here, it does have his mark on here with the Young. He does some really, really cool designs. I'm not sure what companies he may. I know he has a few with WE. The original Synergy that came out before this one was the first ever folding knife that was created with 3D Solid Modeling CAD software, which what it did, to make a long story short, and I can't even believe I remembered some of that information, is that it allows you to have a fully 3D sculpted single billet handle, also known as an integral. I've heard people call it integral, integral. Oh, I just call it integral, I think. And that means that you have one solid piece of steel or a billet that was used to create the handle. And this is floating on a bearing system. Again, all those things going into the design of the original Synergy. Well, 20 years later, this thing's still top-notch, beautiful, great design, great functionality, comfortably ergonomic grip that you're not going to want to put down or get it out of your hand. This thing is blazing through anything that you could create, think about, do. So it's a frame lock. Okay, that's a little bit about the previous, where we got to where we're at now. So when I got this off, I think of Blade HQ. I just love the design of the blade. When we first whip it out, Just looking at the centering too, look at that. That's spot on, right down the middle. Gorgeous. Flick it out, we can tell this is sturdy. It's a very stable lockup, feels beautiful. There's absolutely zero wiggle or play on that. As I said, I believe I mentioned that this is a frame lock. So as you can see, you've got your frame here. Now, looking over the knife itself, holding it, kind of glancing at it with me, one thing that will jump out at you is the blade itself. Look at this. That thing is thin. What's that going to do for us? Well, it's going to do a lot of great slicing, because as you're cutting through your material that you have in front of you, it's going to allow the blade to not pinch. The higher you get, it's going to keep it a nice, easy flow through, and you're going to slice and just be able to dice and put things all where they need to be put with this knife. It's wonderful because with this profile, and it's a locking trail point, almost like a Persian. That's the one thing that drew this to me, was it looked like it was almost a little bit of a Persian style blade that kind of has the upsweep. But if we look at it, it's more or less keeping a level profile and dropping into this thick, nice blade that we have here. It's a plain edge, satin finish, just gorgeous. Nice swedge on the very top of this. So any type of penetration you may have with it, it's going to allow just the ease to be able to cut through and take any projects you have. And cleaning it, that's another thing. When you have a blade like this that doesn't have a bunch of jazz on it, let's say we're going to use it on food prep, which I would do any day of night with a blade like this. You use it, you rinse it, you take your towel and wipe it off. You're not going to have a bunch of gunk on this. It's going to be in weird little cracks, crevices of the design, because it's just such a smooth profile. Speaking of smooth, I mean, this action on the floating bearing system, it's beautiful. You hear a nice resound click as it locks into place. You have a little jimping up here on the top. If we inspect or look at the flipper itself, not very much is sticking out. So you have to kind of grab it right here on the end of it. Wow, grabbed it so much. Look at that. I've even got a little area it's kind of wore out that I've been using this knife with as I've been carrying it. But yeah, so you have a little area right here, and it locks with authority right into place. Beautifully done. The choil area here, you have your sharpening area. Not really much of a area to put your finger onto here, but keeping it behind or on that choil area with your thumb up here on the top, you are going to have a little bit of jimping behind your blade. This is beautifully done. Not at all sharp or aggressive to where it's going to hurt your thumb. It gives it more of a continuous grip as you're applying pressure to the back of it here. This is going to allow you your push cuts, give you more of a stab and control with the tip. Finger here is going to also give you a lot more tip control and detailed work. So the handle there, as we lock into it, I'm going to show you guys. Large glove, we go into this, very ample and full for the hand. Locked in here. I love how the rest of the handle itself is beautifully ergonomic. Look at the sculpture on the back of this, how you've got the little, it's kind of like a peak and valley where it kind of goes down and up, rides down the back, and you got some jimping, which if you reverse it, it's going to give you that thumb area where you can put, and this is comfortable. Very, very comfortable in the hand. Reverse grip or foregrip, pistol grip, however you want to do it. I think most hands out there are going to be perfectly adapted for this handle. Jimping is done wonderfully and tastefully in those two areas. You have a little bit back on the back. which you really don't notice it at first unless you're looking at it. Now, another thing about the Synergy2 that I really liked, and by the way, I think this is discontinued. They do have a newer version of this that is out. I forgot the exact name, but it does look a little bit different than this particular blade. You may still find these out there somewhere. I think they run about $435, but you can find different prices. Just kind of depends. I don't know how readily they are to be able to access if you're interested in this knife. But as again, WE does have another version of the Synergy2 that it looks great as well. But I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. So another thing with the lock up here, we see with the nice frame lock, is that you have your little screw here. And this frame lock, it's going to be a replaceable steel insert that is right in here because the frame's all titanium. So if we look at this, without knocking my tripod over, we can see that this area here, it can come out and be replaced, the steel area on the lock bar. Nothing on the inside as far as any milling that I can see, so this is just one continuous piece of steel here. I don't know why I'm still using that. This is a shredded carbon fiber on the scales. Never really heard of a shredded carbon fiber, but I like the way it looks. Nice and smooth, whereas a lot of carbon fiber might even have a little bit of a rough feel on it. This one is nice and smooth. But then you have texture along the handle on the side here, show side, as well as the other side. So if it's in your pocket, you don't have to worry about this thing sliding all over the place. Some knives do that. They'll slide around even if they have a clip on them. This is adaptable for a lanyard, which I like how this is done. It's inset or put into the handle design itself, so that if you are carrying it, using it, have it in your pocket, you really won't even notice that that hole is there or not just supposed to be a part of the design. So I like the way it's done. This is going to be tip up, carry right hand only. There isn't a place that you could switch it over. The pocket clip, by the way, this clip is beautiful. I love the way that this is indented on the very end. You have a nice, almost fully deep carry. It will take you up to here, which you don't have much out. And then this will allow that little indentation. It'll flip or slip over your pocket edge. You'll be able to pull it in and out. And from as much as I've carried it, it hasn't ruined or done anything to tear up my jeans. So as far as I can tell, this is a really good clip to have on it. Again, titanium. Just beautifully done. I really like, if an integral is done right, it is just, it feels good, looks good. If you have the means of a WE knife, and in fact the Synergy2 or something that would be a Jim O. Young design, jump all over it. Bee on honey, bear on honey, whatever you want to, analogy you want to use. It's a damn good knife, good slicer, good for pretty much anything that you would need to do on an urban slash basis. You could take this anywhere, and I like that it is capable of doing things that a larger knife is capable of doing in a heavy duty knife, but yet it's in a slim, almost a gentleman type carry. Let's look at the blade length. This thing's going to be pretty darn good. Let's see, 3.5 inches. Cutting area is going to be 3 1/4 from the tip down. The handle itself, we're going to be looking at 4.5, a little over 4.5 inches. Almost 4 3/4 here. So you've got a really nice size handle, and the blade is also very nice area that's available for cutting or using. Now let's go ahead and get a weight on this. This may surprise you. 4.3. Now I think that weight for most people in that wheelhouse of about 4 ounces to 4.5, I think is right on that area that a lot of people don't mind having that in your pocket. Getting into larger or over 4 or 5 ounces, some people, they prefer not to have one that weighs that much. But this is really good in the hand, feels good in the pocket. It doesn't sag you out. Just a magnificent job. I love the titanium handle, the integral that they have as far as the design goes, the shredded carbon fiber they have that is actually on both sides of this. Steel at the M390. Don't know if I had even mentioned what the steel was, but yeah, this is a M390 blade. Nice trailing point. Man, I just love the geometry too of the blade. So comfortable in the hand. And more or less, it's going to be a real user and performer for you. Appreciate the time you took to watch my video. As always, you guys, you're the reason I'm here. I love keeping this thing small, intimate. You know, it's the few. And that's the way I like it to be. We are able to keep things on a different level. And there's plenty of room here together, guys. Punch your ticket. Do it. Just hit subscribe. And like minds, they will gather. They will come and think alike, share ideas, thoughts, comment. Let me know. Do you guys like any of the offerings? Is there a different knife that you think is the best? How about Jim O. Young? Any other designs? Throw them out there. Teach me. Let me know more about it. You guys are good with that. We've got a giveaway that's going to happen this Saturday. So that's going to be the September 3rd. You have to go to a previous video to be able to enter for that. Remember our pets, remember our vets, guys, the men and women that give everything they have all the time for us to have what we have right now at this moment. And then the little furry guys, the non-furry guys, the ones that make us smile, that chase us around, want to lick our face sometimes, and even, they drive us so nuts. Whew. And with that, like who you see in the mirror, give yourself a little tug. Pat yourself on the back once in a while. You are good enough. Life is short. Let's really take advantage of it. Have great thoughts. I always keep a little debauchery going in. Hell, it's a struggle, but you know what? It's worth it. And until we meet again, take care, guys.